3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to Grounds After Rounds.
All right, we're back in the gym, in the studio, kinda. I guess this is now. This is our because this is where we would always record it.
Because you and I have been zooming it for a while.
Right, and you actually haven't been here. You've been at home. I've been at home.
I've been back. I've been here. I've been here. I've been back there. I've been in there.
So we're here.
So we're here. We are presently
coughing on
here.
each other, touching each other, totally breaking social separation. But we've already broken it.
I forgot my mask.
Our bubble. Well, we popped our bubble.
Nose out.
Yeah. That's an inside joke, ladies and gentlemen.
So here we are.
Here we are. Good deal. Just the two of us. No guests. So I guess it's over. Our special series is over.
I think we'll still pop some in.
Okay.
I think it's still definitely.
But now it just becomes guests. You know what I mean? Like it's not really a special series anymore.
Maybe it's just like it's the series is broken up a little bit more.
Okay.
I think we can still do Keeping Up with the Creek because plenty of people are.
I'm just thinking from titling. I won't call it special series. Then I'll just say Keeping Up with the Creek.
Keeping Up with the Creek,
and then it'll be yeah.
I think it's become the Keeping Up with the Creek.
It's its own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is its thing.
Cool.
It's like the one with the Creek person. Okay. So
lots of stuff happened in 96 hours.
Was this not it was a great weekend? I'm very thankful for the third day.
Yeah. To kind of just do nothing and recover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like, man, this was a busy last few days.
Yeah.
It's all kind of a blur.
I think that's why I like doing Murph on Saturday and not waiting till, because we would always do it Monday at Old Bay because I would usually be rolling it. The first couple years I was rolling in the camper from our camping trip with my sister. Yeah. And that was just like, ugh. You were just exhausted.
One more thing, yeah.
I think we would do it the Monday with the mids. Sometimes we would do it because they would be. When did we do it with them? Because they all graduate. Friday would always be graduation before Memorial Day.
Yeah.
But a lot of them would still be in the area, so we'd push it till, and they'd have graduation parties and stuff. But I like doing it Saturday because it kicks the weekend off, and then everyone's got the freedom to kind of go do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
And I know by Monday, like you said, I'm toast. We didn't do anything really yesterday.
Yeah. We had our meetup yesterday morning, and then I was it was nice to just have the rest of the day. Yeah. And we kind of wang it. We didn't wang it.
What do you mean?
Well, just the rest of the day, it was nice. There was no other. I mean, I could easily said that if we did Murph in the morning, but I would have been exhausted. I liked.
You mean you as a family, you guys just kept it open and did whatever.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was our day.
Did you go hiking?
No, we didn't. Rudy came over with his significant other, who is a makeup artist / hairstylist. Okay. And she gave me a haircut.
Oh, I was gonna say you looked freshly shorn.
And because I was like, the hair's getting long, and I wanted it to look nice and clean for all the faces back in the gym. And I love Megan, and I'm sure she would do a wonderful job. But not having experience cutting people's hair, I wouldn't go I would rather my hair just grow and flow than any quarantine cut. And
it's a dangerous test of a relationship to ask somebody to do that.
Well, she knows I'm finicky too, because she laughed at me when Kendall is Rudy's girlfriend, and she goes, so how do you like to do it? I was like, and I first asked you to get clippers. I was like, well, I like a 6 on the sides, and then I want to kind of blend it up once you get about here, and then once you get to the top, keep it about 2 or 3 inches here, but the front more 3 to 4 inches, because I want to be able to comb it back and part of here. And I have this cowlick back here that please don't cut the cowlick, because if you cut it too short, it sticks up regardless of what I put in it. And she was like, oh,
whoa.
you know what you like. I was like, that's why I don't let Megan cut my hair, because she'd be like, you need a crew cutter. We're just gonna buzz it all off today. So yeah, so which I have done in bouts of like, I don't feel like dealing with this for a while. Yeah, in particular, so that's why I won't do the bowl on the head and just neaten it up.
Yeah, that's such. Have you seen those on Hulu or Amazon? The commercials, the streaming commercials.
Yeah.
Thanks for all your sick cuts and sick dance moves and DIY haircuts.
DIY haircuts.
That kid's face with the bowl is just like.
Yeah, that was.
I love that.
So that was So anyway, that's what our day is, and then we went and saw my mom and dad, which is good because I need to see my mom because I had a tiff with my mom earlier last week, and I was stewing, and so it was good. Like I wasn't expecting anything from her. I felt like, short story, I felt like she owed me an apology for something, but I was like, I know I'm never gonna get it.
Yeah.
So let me just see her, and so when she saw me, she like cried and gave me a hug and said she loved me, and I was like, okay, I'll take that.
I
That
love
works.
you too.
So so it was a good Monday.
Good.
And Fee ate like 6 Klondike bars.
Ate what?
She like ate like 6 Klondike bars.
Oh, that's what I saw.
Like,
I
I'm
saw
exaggerating, but she knew where they were in the freezer.
When you said the third Klondike bar hits a bit differently than the first two, that was a funny post.
So
she went into like epileptic shock.
Oh God. She like knew where they were in the freezer. She like walked in the house, got one, came back up, and she goes, "This is for you, Gangi." And she goes, "Oh, thanks." And Fee unwrapped it and put it on the table and steps back. She goes, "But we're gonna share it." And then took a bite out of it. So anyway, that was my day. That was my Memorial Day.
Fun.
Cool.
That's a good one.
So that was a long story. That was fun. That was fun to talk about.
Murph. So Murph 2020 at home virtual Murph.
So much fun.
Really, it was. I had expectations of like. I'll tell you what. I gained a ridiculous level of appreciation for how easy the CrossFit media team had and has made it look and had made it look in the past and continues to make it look of being able to seamlessly flow between like this and this and yet still be like looking at stats and stuff. Yeah. I think it would be fun. I would be intrigued to give that a shot, like with professional assist. But holy crap, was that horrible? That was so hard. Like so to the point where like I checked out and you just took over the Zoom. We completely quit on this. Like that. Yeah,
this was
that went away and that's all deleted. Well, because
probably for the better.
Yeah, and we didn't have enough file space.
Yeah.
And so it was, it was very, I don't know, very challenging to ebb and flow between the two mediums. But it seemed like, and based on the participation and the logging in SugarWOD and everyone's feedback, that it was awesome. Yeah. That was definitely a huge success for the experience of it. Yeah. And it was for me too. Like that part, a little stressful, kind of. I'm glad I did it on Friday, done. And I always do that so that Saturday can just be, managing.
Focus on that,
and it was kind of, I wouldn't, like, the thing about Murph when it's in the gym and you get that sort of like, that live experience, it's chaos, but it's so rewarding chaos. There was none of that. Right. It was chaos, but there was nothing rewarding about it because there was Brian was there. But I mean, it's like a dude in the parking lot. So for me in the moment, it wasn't awesome. Yeah. The awesome happened afterwards. Yeah. And that was that totally twilighted or eclipsed anything that I was feeling as like, was that worth it? Da, da, da. Yes, 100% worth it. Absolutely awesome. Phenomenal.
That was fun. It was cool because by the time I got here, you had the setup already kind of like up and running, and I was kind of like, all right, cool. Like this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be really cool. Yeah. And then we started playing with it, and there was that like 45-second delay. I was like, all right, 3, 2, 1, go. They're not They're not going. They're all just staring at me. Yeah. Can you hear me? Go. No, they're still standing there. Bob looks lost.
Eric, I have a question. Yeah. Oh, God. They asked that about 15 minutes ago.
Oh, my gosh. And so that beginning part was kind of awkward. And I think we realized, okay, we have way too much stuff going on. Let's simplify it. And we knocked a couple computers out and said, oh, look, that was only like an 8-second delay. So it was so much better. So I think once we kind of worked out, I thought it was awesome.
Yes.
Because you don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. And I think we adjusted nicely and it ended up being a really cool event. But I feel the same as you. Like, it was more that, like, afterwards, same thing. It was kind of like, I don't know, like, text I got from you was like, oh. And then just texts and messages and comments and stuff on the workout was just like, all right, cool. Like,
yeah.
And I said, not that I need that validation, but it was really nice to see.
It's nice to get it.
It's nice to, like, see how much people enjoyed it. So
yeah, and there's something too, man. Like, I think we got, like, open the aperture of doing something similar next year, where if however, and maybe we'll talk, how we move forward with a blend between this in-person stuff and the virtual. Mm-hmm. Either real-time, pre-recorded, like what that virtual looks like, the quality of the product in person, we know we can do that. Mm-hmm. Like, and I think, and not in the sense of like, oh, I can do that, no problem. Like, you got to keep your skills sharp and keep pushing and keep, but the simplicity of doing it in here is what makes it so magical. Yeah. Is that you don't overcomplicate it. It's functional fitness with a handful of people at intensity. Bam, you got fitness. The virtual stuff is working, and clearly, we'll talk about like how we measured it from a fitness standpoint. But just the participation, the quality of like people saying like that was worth it and it was awesome. And so, if we did a virtual version, like, and we reorganized this place, and maybe we have like a studio that we flushed out for the last year, and it's actually somewhere to do things, and you have. Yeah. A team that can professionalize. We're paying them, and they're or they're practiced at it.
Yeah,
that's professional.
Yep.
And so maybe they're running the virtual thing with you as the team lead virtually, and me as the team lead out here running it live. Like, I think there's our brains are firing.
Yeah.
Very on, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I think it was cool coming out of that. Not even before we got the shout outs and like the just waves of appreciation, which was great. Before even that, you and I were talking about like there might be like a hybrid version to this that could prove to be a lot of fun and still really effective.
Yeah.
What that looks like obviously is going to take some mapping out, but
it's
we
fun.
can dive into that more too. But
it's we're not. So I think of the year that they took the games up to the ranch. 15? It was 15 or 16?
Yeah.
And there was no media team on site. The media team was on site, but they were recording. There was no live stream. And so they had like 3 people with phones. And they tell the story of when they went to Pendleton, same thing. They had Josh Everett on his freaking flip phone. So somebody threw him their smartphone. And he's like, what do I do with this thing? He figured it out.
Yeah.
And so I remember when they went to the ranch and they had, I can't remember his name, but he was on his phone Facebook living, and that was the primary feed for most of the stuff at the ranch live. And it was cool.
Yeah.
Like, it felt very Blair Witchy, but like in a good way.
Yeah.
And so I think there is an okay product to be delivered at a lower level of production quality that still effectively gets the product or gets the accomplishment of what we're talking about, because it's an event.
Right.
If it's your daily interaction with the person, like, connection speed needs to be at a level that the delay is minimal.
Right.
sound and video quality need to be at a quality that I can actually feasibly say, like, I can do this. And then consistency of the environment, I'm finding, is one of the most important things.
Yeah.
So you develop a habit with somebody. You talked about the other day, like, okay, in your space, you need to make sure you have an 8x8 foot square. You have at least this minimal equipment. You can do these 9 fundamental movements relatively clear of any obstructions, and you have access to this, this, and this, though those are optional and we can work around it. And your coach is differentiated. Their background, their setting looks like this, this, and this, so that when you're going through it, it doesn't feel like somebody in their living room sitting on their couch talking you through, squats look great. Yep, keep it up. Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Oh, hold on, guys. That's my favorite part.
Yeah. That Michael's hilarious.
Oh, God.
All right, here we go in 3, 2, right? Like, not that any of us have done that, but we have talked about how with the computer open and with this open, it's very easy to get distracted. Like, oh, that email just came in.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, sorry, guys, I missed that. So those things are, I think, the professionalization of it. Yeah. But in the end, that's all behind the scenes. If the person, the client, the customer, the user experience is, it's fun, it gives them that sense, that experience of connection. Oh, by the way, they are getting fitter.
Yeah. Then
all of this, the other stuff, I think, kind of figures itself out.
Yeah.
So the question, right, all that said, did our people get fitter, Eric? Like, did 2.5 months of quarantine at home workouts, did they all lose their gains with a Z? Like,
I think the experience is shown based on sugar wad and people's feedback is they may even be fitter than they were 2 months ago. And so we were talking about that, like the general concern for, with all this shutdown and all this, the workouts you've been doing at home. Now, they may have been the workouts, if you were doing the workouts that showed up in the Under Armour email that you sent me that day. Maybe a scaled version of Murph is appropriate, but it was, but yeah, that general concern that because you haven't been in the gym and you haven't been working high volume worth of whatever you want to say it is, which you and I will disagree to the cows come home. We have been.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, like, I don't know, we haven't been doing pull-ups every day, but we've been doing some version of pulling movements.
We did Chelsea 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago? Yeah. And so, yeah, like, if you've been working consistently, if you've been doing this stuff consistently, which we ask of you, be consistent. It's on the wall. It's always on the wall, guys. This, you can do Murph and maybe even PR it.
Yeah. So I have not lifted a barbell. I'm almost tempted. I'm gonna give it one more week.
Yeah.
I almost did the squats yesterday.
Yeah.
With a barbell, but instead I did them with dumbbell and heavy kettlebell.
That's right. Yeah.
At home. I PR'd Murph. I don't know if it was a lifetime PR, but I don't really buy those anymore as much as, because every time, if you don't do it in the exact same spot, the same setup, and blah blah blah, like, how can you? It's not really your environment's different. Like, so, not that PRs don't matter. Observable, measurable, repeatable. The observable, measurable part allows you to repeat it, allows you to say, "Am I getting fitter?" A lot of, for me as an athlete, and also as a coach to athletes who have been doing this for more than a year, 2, 3, 5, is the number on the board, the time on the board isn't as much important as the qualitative aspect of the workout. Murph, for a long time, probably the last 3 or 4 years, has always showed up as more of an emotional, mental challenge for me, because I think I should feel a certain way, and in the middle of it, I don't. I feel worse. Something happens, whatever. I remember doing it one time in my garage, and I almost quit because the squats got so hard. Like, I was breaking up the squats, and I do not break up air squats, like, ever.
Right.
And I was like, what the this? And I had been doing comp train. Like, I was fitter than before. Right. Yeah. And I wasn't. I was getting my ass handed to me. This year, doing it with Andy, this is, I think, our 3rd year in a row, which is cool. I used his strategy of the 5 push-ups, 5 pull-ups, 5 push-ups, 15 air squats in the middle. And I kept the runs. The deal was I was just going to run at or just below kind of like uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And I went almost 30 seconds. I went over 30 seconds faster this year than I did last year in this exact same space. Slightly different breakup strategy because last year's breakup strategy was a train wreck. So maybe it was a breakup strategy.
What did you do last year?
I don't know.
But it wasn't 5, 10, 15.
It was going to be 5, 10, 15.
Yeah.
It became something else. Then I think I lost track. I think I may have even shirked myself a round of Cindy. Like I may have even been 5, 10, 15 full sit-ups or gymnastic stuff short.
Yeah.
And still 30 seconds faster this year. So all said and done, this was probably one of the best Murphs I've ever done. The only place I felt it, and this is where I would say, so objectively, I am fitter in Murph now than I was a year ago.
Right.
After 2.5 months of doing this programming. And I haven't been doing anything extra. I've been doing the workout and then the accessory work. That's it. On the run, on the second run, as you come out of here on this route, it's a slight uphill and you're wearing the vest. I felt a little bit like where there just wasn't that kind of like gas pedal that comes from heavy, heavy lifting.
Right.
That's the only place where I would say not having access to a heavy barbell to do heavy back squats, heavy deadlifts, and when I mean heavy, like 450-pound deadlifts, 300+ pound back squats.
1s, 2s,
for
and 3s,
me,
heavies.
that's exactly single effort, multiple set, like that kind of a thing. That's the only place for about 40 seconds,
right?
Like that, and then it passed.
Yeah,
and it's sort of that like, but my conditioning was there, my emotional state was there, my freaking endurance and stamina. So the endurance is the length of. Right, the 35, 45 minutes you're able to process oxygen, switch between aerobic, anaerobic, glycolic, like your 3 metabolic pathways, like that's quote unquote endurance. Stamina is what happens in the gymnastics movements. Like I never really felt fatigued in the push-ups, going 5 pull-ups, 5. My pull-ups never broke apart. Like those felt awesome the whole time. That's stamina.
Yeah.
So basically my gymnastic stamina with a 20-pound weight vest is better now than it's ever been.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I asked you. No, we haven't had access to a gym, but going into this, and we were talking about it before we even shut down because we were at that gymnastics course. And we were saying like, man, we definitely could improve on our
warm-ups gymnastics.
Skill
work gymnastics,
like all that stuff.
Look at this. And quarantine.
Right? And so if anything, it's like, well, here we go. Like we've got to really dial this in.
Yeah.
And so that focus on gymnastics movements, from the animal crawls to the static holds.
Today's slips.
The slips, right?
You got a 3-week cycle of those bad boys. So if you don't like them, learn to like them.
And was if you don't like them, learn to love them.
Oh, I like that.
I think it was Ric Flair.
Oh, nice. He's a genius.
And
woo!
And which is perfect because no slips for today. Anyway, sorry.
Woo Wednesday.
I'm so thrown off.
Wednesday. No, they're not tomorrow.
Yeah.
AMRAP warm-ups tomorrow.
But anyway, we're talking about that focus, and it's not as clear, like the progressions or your improvement is not as clear as I hit a 10-pound PR on my deadlift.
Yes.
But like how you felt in Murph, which is such a great test.
I think that's what makes so. I love that you just said that. That's what makes gymnastics so hard.
Yeah.
Is because there isn't, and they said this, is that you're constantly measuring yourself to some qualitative, nebulous, theoretical perfection. And
that you'll never get
it is impossible to get. So even the 10 that Mary Lou Retton got at the Olympics is not really that her movement was perfect. It's a 10 based on all of the other context of all the other competitors in that competition. The judges felt that she was a relative 10 compared to them.
Right.
That's it. She's still not perfect. And you never will be perfect. And so the sport of gymnastics is a constant exercise in being told how deficient and shitty you are.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So basically, by using it as a means to develop your health and fitness, we are constantly reminding ourselves just how bad we are.
So you go through that. People are like, that sucks.
It sucks.
Because you feel like, I just sucked.
Right. I did it to Joe today.
Yeah.
He's awesome. He looks so good in his freaking elevated hollow.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's like legit. His legs are straight, toes are pointed, everything's awesome.
Are we looking at Joe Lou Retton?
I mean, like, seriously, he looks great. And I go, awesome, Joe. Now raise your legs high. Because he's got him off the ground.
I
probably
heard you
2
yell
inches.
that, too.
Yeah, and higher. He lifts them maybe an inch, a half an inch. Right? And his face just goes, and I'm like, yep.
Yep.
And I'm like, all right, we just found the new normal.
It's the same thing. It's the same look you get when someone needs to push burpees a little bit faster.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. It's like every improvement is like infinitely harder.
Yeah.
And it never gets, like, you never get up on plane. Like with a barbell lift, there are moments where you're like, oh my God, like you surprise yourself that you lifted that weight because your mechanics somehow, like, you're better in performance of the movement and your skill and the technique. Because in barbell, strength is never the limiting factor.
Right.
Until you're so good at the mechanics that strength becomes a limiting factor.
Right.
99.99999% of us are not there and never will get there.
Which we will make sure to dial in the technique during the summer solstice.
Oh, there you go. That's right.
Hence, you only need a PVC pipe.
Gymnastics, strength and mechanics are also usually the limiting factor.
Yep.
With mechanics usually being the thing that is the limiting factor. But the reason the mechanics are the limiting factor is because we don't have the requisite strength and coordination to fire the right muscles.
Right.
And so now it's like we're in barbell lifting, mechanics and strength kind of like, you know, they actually sort of help each other out. Here, they're in competition with each other.
Yeah.
And so it's like, until you develop the strength, you can't develop the mechanics. But until you develop the mechanics, you can't really develop the strength. And so it's like this constant, like, your brain just doesn't know what to do because that coordination piece. Though coordination is in the cool thing is, all of the work here will immediately translate to the weightlifting.
Yeah.
Like, everybody, I still stand by this when we get back to barbells consistently. Everybody is going to lift heavier than they were before, and they're going to surprise themselves. Yeah. Like, that's going to be a really cool moment when people are throwing up, you know, maybe they were at like 65, 75 pound snatches, and that was where they were kind of like, oh, good swing. They're going to be throwing up 10, 15, 20 pounds more and be like, holy crap, where did this come from?
Yeah.
It's going to be 2.5 months of gymnastics work. That's what I felt in Murph. That's what I saw this weekend on Saturday, is people surprising themselves with, like, Luis doing Murph with that vest.
Yeah.
And never, I mean, it was hard,
yeah,
but never really feeling like, oh my God, I can't do this.
Right. I mean, everyone.
He hasn't been in the gym in 2.5 months.
It's funny watching Monique in particular, Monique's, I feel like, has always moved really well. But I think it was like late. Like, they had to have been in their last couple rounds. Mm-hmm. And watching her pull-ups, and she was doing, I think, banded and like that door jam thing. And it was late. I'm like, damn, those still look like really like dialed in and smooth. And I thought that same exact thing is like, all this gymnastics work is now like that stamina is there.
Yeah.
That may not have been there. I like to think it would be there. Like, coming out of the gymnastics course, it would have been there because this was a course of action we're taking.
I don't think so. I don't think we would have
much more concerted focus. Than
exactly.
It would have been. Yeah.
I think maybe I stay true to it for 2 or 3 weeks and then fall apart. You know what I mean? Because again, I got more available to me.
Yeah.
You can use the assault bikes, you can use the skiers, you can use the row, like, you know, got all kinds of stuff. And so it's like, whoo.
And as much as we like to think we have our own mind, we do tend to listen to what people say around here. And if they look miserable for 3 weeks straight,
I don't want to destroy people.
Yeah.
Maybe. But all we have is the gymnastics.
Yeah.
And then it actually makes us get better at it too.
Yeah.
Last thing on this, there was a lot of, we talked a little bit, I asked if you had noticed, there was a lot of chatter in the CrossFit space and sphere about, is Murph appropriate this year? Or is a Murph-like workout appropriate to throw your population, your community into it? And it's in the same vein as the conversation of when you come back into the gym, are you going to change your programming? Is it going to be a shift to lower volume and lower intensity? Because you're taking people who you assume they have not been the joke of as you were walking up the steps. Which, by the way, the only reason I said that is because I was going off of your lead.
You're going off, yeah.
You have been doing the at-home workouts. You look great. Please do not take that as.
I think I have. In all seriousness, I think I have gained weight because I'm a stress eater, and I was like, oh, it was totally. I was like, I've definitely gained a few pounds, and I was like, well, why would I do that? I was like, well, I'm a stress eater, and this has been stressful times. But B, it's like, oh, I'm sitting in front of a computer for several hours.
You're losing about 2 miles of movement. Because I've actually I've tracked it on my steps and stuff, just because I'm intrigued, though it's so imprecise. To use that as your measure of fitness,
it's
not worthwhile.
No.
The 10,000 step thing, not a thing. But anyway, it's good from a contextual, observable, measurable, repeatable. I'm down about 10,000 steps a week,
which makes sense.
That's
right, and and like so,
classes.
I'm moving in front of the camera, but not nearly as I'm not moving around a class nearly as much as I was by any stretch.
Yeah,
and so 10,000 steps. Yeah,
it's about
like it's a big deal. So it's I'm not actually
about 5 miles. 5 miles less movement.
Yeah,
across the week. Anyway,
so I knew you were.
Every time I watch it, I feel bad. I'm like, I hope people don't actually think that I mean that. Like,
well, it's funny. I was watching with Meg, and she was saying something to me when I stopped and did the hands on the knees thing.
Yeah.
And then she was saying something to me, and she looks back, and then she hears you say, Eric obviously hasn't been doing the workout. Yeah. And she goes, why would he say that? And I goes, oh, you didn't see me? I was just doing this. Yeah. That's why it was
totally
a joke.
Totally
joking. We were here.
Okay, good. Anyway, also not the case for our people. Because we did not change Murph at all. Some modifications, people still, maybe they didn't do the pull-ups because they didn't have a pull-up bar or whatever.
Right.
Brian did the push-up, sit-up, squat one.
Yeah.
The volume that the modifications still asked of people. The fact that it was still 35 to 45 minutes of intense workout, and the fact that that many people, that high percentage of our population did it, what I would say is at no point did I feel nervous that we were going to have a problem with anyone. Because of the way in which we shifted to I can tell you with a pretty high percentage of assurance where every single one of our athletes currently is in their fitness. Maybe a handful, about 5. I'm like, I'm not sure. We'll have to see. Depends on how much. Yeah. And that's because maybe they haven't been logging or they've been kind of MIA, whatever. But that's pretty good that I had a very high degree of confidence that our folks were going to be fine.
Yeah.
And I think it's a combination of consistency in attendance, the programming. Yes, equipment has been limited, but I feel very proud. But this has been super fun to stress and tax the creativity of can you still get intensity regardless of the limitation of equipment and space? Yeah. You are solely limited by your creativity and your imagination. Change up the modality, change up the time domain, change up the structure, add, different things, make it even more simple, right? Yeah. That there is a ton of stuff we actually haven't even used. Holds.
Yeah.
We have not used a whole lot of holds.
Yeah.
Holds into high rep for time. So it would be okay, you have a minute, hold this plank for a minute, and then as soon as you're done, sprint 10 by 10 foot shuttle sprints, max burpees in 1 minute.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe we'll see that sometime soon.
Sounds familiar.
Shoulders, people might throw up. That's a throw up workout.
Well, those things too, I think it's not an obvious strength day. Right. It's not a 5x5 back squat, but man, is that a strength day
because of the hold. The hold went out of breath. So anyway, so that's what I mean. Where we've done, I think, a effective job of varying it and in keeping the intensity and putting our people in a position to test themselves with Murph, I've passed with flying colors, like across the board. I think we passed.
I think we deserve to give ourselves a pat on the back here. Yeah. You get one too. There you go.
But really,
not that we needed to.
A really good shout out to our folks for putting in the time, staying true to the process, and freaking reaping the benefits of that with something like Murph. Like that
was so fun.
Yeah, it was. So cool.
I'm excited for next year already.
Me too. I know. And it comes down to just continuing to offer the quality of service at a level that we feel comfortable, and continuing to underpromise and over deliver.
Yeah.
Right. Like this, when we first thought about like, okay, we're coming back into the box. Do we do like synchronous? I'll coach it, and then I'll have the camera over here.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was you or Amy or somebody was like, I don't know if we should really do that. Whoever said it, I can't remember. Like, thank you, because that would be a train wreck.
I'm mad at myself that it had to be said, right? But in retrospect, this is why. I don't know. So yes,
right? Because it's like I want to say yes to everything. I want to be like, yeah, we can totally do that. We can totally do that. Transitioning from, and this is transition to how did today go? First day back. Transitioning from the live to the Zoom, just 30 feet apart, was like downshifting and like changing out from 2-wheel to 4-wheel drive. Like it was like that. It was.
That's good. I'll think about that this evening.
Yeah,
I'm really excited about it, but I also know I know me. I know how so I'm going to be so charged up for that 5:15. And not that being in front of the screen with people doesn't charge me up, because I do get excited to see everyone on there. But it's different in physical space.
Yeah.
And so I know, and I'm sure I'll get it real quick because people are awesome. But like I know it's going to take me a little bit of an effort to be like game face, like
and
from in person to computer screen.
Tip: I had the entire thing set up and I had the Zoom class started. So I started.
Oh, cool.
I started the 6:15 a.m. Zoom class before people showed up.
So it's not this like scramble to make sure.
Yep. So everything was on and it was running and everything was plugged in. That basically it was a 2-hour Zoom meeting.
Right.
Which is what it would have been anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Like we keep the classes.
We're just not in front of the camera this
right.
time. Yeah.
I had everything ready to go. I had like my ear things plugged and ready to go. All I had to do was pick them up, turn them on, connect it, and I was like rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
I ran 6 minutes long in the 5:15 a.m. class. Started 6 minutes late and ran about 2 minutes long. So there's I lost 8 minutes. That 8 minutes is going to be critical in transit. Like hitting time hacks in that live person class is going to be even more important, because basically it was all right, you guys are awesome, clean your stuff, see ya.
You know what's so funny? I found that I've hit that time hacks better on Zoom than I ever did in class.
Me too.
I think it's for me too, because I get distracted really easily by getting caught up in the conversation with this person over here and then having to come back to
you mean having human connection and
right.
Because emotionally detached and unintelligent, emotionally intelligent, right?
Was your like
yeah. It's time to go.
Yeah, 6:15. It's 7:15. Computer screen.
In the middle, Joe's in the middle of asking a question. Oh, I guess we're done.
So, a question. I was feeling this pain in my. Done.
Time's over. Thanks for coming. See you tomorrow. I'm not quite that bad, all right?
No, you're not.
But yeah,
some days we want to be.
Ton of fun. Different level of human energy in the sense of like that many people. Like I could feel in a positive way. I could feel the difference of what 8 actual human beings standing in front of you feels like, rather than a computer screen of people.
Yeah.
A little bit like.
It's funny that we've run the couple town halls where we've had plenty of people on there before, but this was so different because we had to be more interactive as opposed to we're going to say this thing. Tell us what you think. But now it's like people have to follow instruction a little bit more, and we're watching a little bit more, and then we need that like visual feedback from them on top of like whatever it is that they had to say.
You're talking about when it's on Zoom?
On Zoom, yeah. So that, yeah, I think I went a different direction from where you were going.
I was just saying this, being in person, I knew it would be different. I was not expecting the kind of qualitative, I can't measure it with like a voltmeter.
Right.
It was a lot of 8 people was a lot more than 8 empty mats under canopies.
Right.
8 actual human beings standing there. It's enough space, and it's spaced out. Everyone's got plenty of room. But I was like, oh yeah, because at first, I had it laid out, and I'm like, we could probably squeeze 2 or 3 more people over there, maybe. Like 8's enough.
I noticed you weren't even standing on a coaching mat. Like it was
right. Like
for the 8 seconds that I was out there. But
I ebbed and flowed between, and I would always come back there to home base.
Right.
But it was like, I was stepped actually back even further. Yeah. It's not, and I'm trying to say this in a way that isn't unrepresentative. It's enough space.
Yeah.
You've got enough room to move. We are abiding by the social distancing protocols of, everyone's got their space.
It's like you're moving into your house, and you look at the living room, and there's nothing in there, and you're like, wow, this is big.
That's a ton of room.
Wow. Then you put the furniture in, you're like, it's
okay.
not as big as I thought.
Yeah.
But it's still big enough.
Yes.
And so
100%.
that's what it felt like.
And that's exactly what it felt like. That you realize as CrossFitters, 3,000 square feet does not mean 20-person classes.
Right.
3,000 square feet means 10 people, maybe 12 people classes.
8,000 square feet.
But in all reality, like even then, like that's, what else are you putting in that 8,000 square feet? To have a 20-person class, like you got to have all the equipment for that many people. Well, equipment takes space. Like it is a, limited. There's an azimuth, right? What's that called? Asymptotic. There's an asymptotic cap to no matter, and you can never get. You'll eventually reach where it's just you can't get any bigger, and so. That's
a big asymptote.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nice try.
I don't know.
You can't even. You just have to. It's the Joey effect. Like
sorry, that was
asinine. I can turn anything into like. How did you make nursery rhymes dirty?
All right.
It's like you can turn anything dirty. That's your asymptotic.
Your grandmother's apple pie.
Yeah.
It was something like that.
Yeah. Ton of fun.
Yeah.
So glad. Good luck. Excited to see how it goes for you.
Which, if you haven't signed up for a class yet, they're full. So make sure you're at least on the waiting list. And it's already Friday. You're hearing this on Friday.
Yeah.
Hey, great classes this week.
Everyone
signed up. Wow, that was amazing.
And showed up.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and assume that everyone signed up.
Everyone that signed up showed up.
And we're working through, already identified some time delay things. So like the workout comes out at 8 p.m. on SugarWOD. Let's say you've signed up for that 5:15 a.m. class or even the 5:15 p.m. class, and now you see the workout and you go, I don't need to do that one in person. I'm going to go ahead and take my name off because I can scale easier at home with my bike or my runner or my, I would rather do it at home. You got the convenience of the Zoom at 6:15 or taped, whatever, videoed, recorded. We don't use tape anymore. So you take your name off. I think currently in Zen Planner it's set up that there's like limits. You can't cancel out outside of 12 hours.
Is that what it is?
And I think I checked the wrong boxes. I got to go in and like fix it. So it just already identified. Monique, thank you, was awesome at like, hey, I got a quick question for you. I noticed the workout, and she talked me through it. That's the feedback that is critical in these next couple weeks as we transition back and forth and figure this thing out and what it looks like, because I want it to be a worthwhile user experience for as many people as possible in a way that is sustainable and workable for us to continue to provide the quality of product.
Right.
Right? Like, what would be awesome is if you guys had more lights and you could, and you zoom in multiple camera angles. Thanks for the feedback. Not going to happen. Like that is not a product
right now to not go down that rabbit hole.
But like that's the product that I can't promise and guarantee to deliver on.
Yeah.
And so if that's what for somebody from a feedback standpoint is going to be the difference between what will and will not work for them, that's the conversation of then maybe this isn't the thing for you.
Yeah.
Or me. Like that, like it's not to say that that's bad feedback. It's ineffective feedback for me to be able to execute on. It's not ineffective for them to offer it. It's just I can't do anything.
It's something actionable. It said this thing is happening.
Right.
It's keeping me from being able to do this. I don't know,
right.
Something along those lines.
And I can look at that. And so that's where it all comes down to. If it influences or affects your experience, please let us know. Yeah. My job, your job, our job is to say, I can't fix that, or ooh, yes, I will fix that. Yeah. That's within my realm, and I can make it a better product for you. Yeah.
It's good.
Quick gratitude for me.
Yeah.
Allie and Drew, I asked them on Monday to come at 5:15 a.m. Long time lesson learned from old commanding officer is when you do a rehearsal for something, do the rehearsal. The final rehearsal should be at the time when the real thing is going to go down. There is something to be said with light. There is something to be said with time of day. There is something to be said whatever. If you're graduating at 4:15 p.m., your rehearsal should be at 4:15 p.m. If not, something is going to show up that you weren't expecting at the time, right? Like
it's a good thought. I never thought
the
of that.
lawnmower goes on at that time. Like the rehearsal, if it's the final dress rehearsal, the dress rehearsal should be at the time, at the place, in the way that it's going to happen. Otherwise, it's not a rehearsal.
It's funny when you said something to me about like doing it at 5:15 a.m. I was like, damn, it's like I know you're a system guy,
but that's for me. Like,
but I also and then I was like, oh, but you know what? Like that's when the class will be run. Like I totally put it. And now that you're like saying this is what you were thinking, and this is how you put.
What are the lights? Which lights are going to be on? Which lights aren't going to be on?
Exactly.
Who's going to be coming and going? What's the dock going to look like?
Right.
Like, all those things. What's it going to be like for me to feel? Do I come in the back door? Do I come in the front door? Like all of that stuff, I need to see it, or I don't feel comfortable being able to say it's game time.
Yeah.
It's variables that I can remove as unknowns, and that's right. Like control what you can control, let go of the stuff you can't.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff I can control. It was awesome. They said yes.
Yeah.
Allie does not get up that early much anymore.
Yeah.
And she showed up and crushed it. It was awesome. We had a ton of fun. So thank you to those two for always willing to do it. And the other side of that gratitude, they are two individuals who see the world from a completely different perspective than I do, and see things that I'll never see.
Yeah.
And always have the comfortability and the confidence and the willingness to offer me those perspectives.
Yeah.
And in ways that can sometimes be frustrating and feel like good idea fairies, but yet despite my petulance or sometimes I don't respond in the best ways, continue to keep offering them. Yeah. And it is critical. I mean, Drew is the perfect example. I do not see the world. We do not see eye to eye on so many things. He is such a critical element to my personal and professional success in the last 8 years. I can't imagine not having him as a part of that process. And so thanks, dude. Like, incredible. Absolutely incredible. I guarantee you things are working the way they work because he breaks things.
I'll say I told you when I told Meg and she said who else she asked me, is Drew going to be there? And I said yeah, and she goes good because she knows that Drew is going to bring up things that we didn't think about. Yeah. And whether they're things that we can do something about or not, Drew's going to bring them up. Yeah. And so she was straight up. So when he said Drew's going to be there, she goes, good. Yeah. Good.
And that's, so I really appreciate them. And they do it with smiles. Like they always, like it does not feel as if I'm imposing. No. Even if I'm imposing, they fake it.
Yeah. Which is good.
Yeah.
I like a good faker.
So thanks. That's my gratitude. They're awesome.
Yeah.
Allie and Drew.
Cool.
Yeah.
Mine's gonna be Brian Meyer this week. He was great in the
Heck yeah.
the putting he was able to. We hit him up and said, "Hey," or I think maybe he even sent me the video that he did for Caps Up.
Yeah,
and
he
said,
said,
"Hey,
you
we
guys
should
want to
do
do
this."
something like this.
And I think we were already kind of talking about doing something.
We were
like
just going
that.
to do something haphazard.
And so
Yeah.
he was just great. Like his setup, his execution,
his direction of us.
this direction of us, because we were just kind of like, yeah, we're just gonna wing it. We're gonna because that's how we roll.
You might want to write down your high points.
Yeah.
You know,
It was awesome.
Have some ideas.
Yeah, and then the way he put it together, and he and I were texting back and forth a lot because I was trying to he sent me this version, but it didn't fit. He sent me the version for Facebook, but then it didn't fit on Instagram. He's like, okay, cool, I'll send it to you later. And he sent it to me, and then I was like, but it's blurry, and it's and so I felt bad texting him back and forth because I was like, he's already done so much.
Yeah.
And I said, if it's too much, don't even sweat it. We got the message out there. It's great. He goes, no. He said something the job wasn't done. And I was like, cool, you're good. So I really appreciate the back and forth, and I'd like to be able to keep working that and streamlining that a little bit as we go forward because he's really talented. I feel like I can learn a lot from him in this thing too. So
we've had some conversations of how to incorporate some other services in this virtual blending, and he's had some really good. I explored some of those ideas.
Yeah,
they're
cool. It's exciting.
They're ripe for implementation. Let's say that.
We kind of said it already, and he said it. I think he even commented on Facebook. He said the creative will thrive, and I was like, I feel like we're in that space right now where it's like.
Well, I'm listening to I'm re-listening to something about this idea of evolution, and we always think of evolution. People think survival of the fittest, that it's got some sort of trajectory.
Right.
That you forget that evolution actually had natural selection. Let's just call it natural selection, is not towards some final goal.
Right.
That it is simply a byproduct, a passive process that as environments change, the entities, species, things, systems, whatever, that are able to adapt quickest to the change in the environment and then replicate themselves, those are the things that persist.
Right.
Evolution is simply a longer persistence of something.
Yeah.
And so to learn what kind of systems should I design that seem to be able to weather the biggest variance in environmental change. Mm-hmm. You just got to go back in time and see what things continue to persist and exist regardless of, say, this cultural time shift. And that's, I'm basically describing Nassim Taleb's book, Anti-Fragile. Right. Those are the things that survive.
Yeah.
And through evolution, the more that those things can survive, then that's what over millennia and time, long thousands and tens of thousands of years, that's how a species evolves into.
And you can learn stuff by just looking back. I know if you look back to ancient tribes in Africa, they were using Zoom for classes long before we were.
Would you break it down? You say, what does the technology provide? The technology provides a medium for us to have human connection, to develop, sustain, and improve the relationships between. We are a social creature, and we want those relationships. That's what we've done. And I'll use Laura Hurley as an example. Never met her. She's Shelly's friend. She joins CrossFit, Fairwinds CrossFit. She is a Creek person from Texas and has never been to our gym. I feel I would be so guilty if I said to her, "Hey, it's been great knowing you. We're closing our doors on this virtual offering."
Man.
Where does she go? Right? We basically we just cut the rope and center, cliffhanger style.
That sucks.
See ya, Laura.
We're not even doing that, and I feel like
right. That has nothing to do with
for one person too.
That has nothing to do with fitness. Yeah, that's we are in the relationship business.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so Zoom is the technology. So basically what we have identified is the better you are at the relationship business, the better product you offer. Yeah. And so everything we do, every question we ask, or every thing we look at and say well, should we do this? Does it continue to deepen and enrich the relationships that we've established and that we want to continue to establish with people? Fitness is the byproduct. Mm-hmm. That's it.
That's it.
Cool.
That's good.
All right.
Cool.
Get you out of here so you don't get in trouble.
I don't get in trouble.
Well, I mean,
I actually tried getting her in trouble yesterday because we were, her and my dad were going back and forth, and they were like picking on me. And I said something to like my dad. I was like, you may not necessarily want to take her side on things, because on our way over here, we drove by a bunch of cows, and I leaned over to Meg and said, hey, does that remind you of any of your family members? And she said, yeah, my in-laws. And
did she really say this?
No, she never said this.
So you basically just got yourself in even more
So
trouble.
like, yeah. And so my dad looks at her like, you said what? She goes, I didn't say that. I was like, you don't know. Maybe you did. But maybe you shouldn't pick on me.
All right, folks. Hopefully this was as rewarding as Zoom. We didn't look at the camera much, but who knows? We'll probably get better at it or not.
Thank you.
Yeah. We will now see you off and on the creek. Adios.